It was purely an accident when I was at work. I lost the best job I've ever had. I worked very hard to get that job,
So
and
let me. So it's kind of hard for me to understand how your penis could be out of your pants and you not know that it was out of your pants, and for you to have an armful of boxes and not feel like a draft on yourself.
right. Well, during the summertime, it's really hot.
Defender's Office on behalf of Mr. Arnold. We are both appearing via Zoom. This is the time set for sentencing. There are no changes or corrections to the assessment prepared by Ms. Anger.
Mr. Arnold, is that true? Is he connected? Mr. Arnold, can you hear me?
Your Honor.
Okay. Is the report that we're talking about factually accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Nicole, if you'd like to be heard, I'm prepared to hear from you.
Thank you, Your Honor. From the assessment, Mr. Arnold doesn't have specifically any has a low risk according to the assessment. I know normally the court does usually find there is some benefit to some term of probation. I will say for the court that in this particular circumstance, Mr. Arnold is looking at another job to prevent what occurred here to happen again. He has been very forefront with me about making sure that he's addressing the issues that brought him before the court. If the court does find that there is a reason to have Mr. Arnold on probation, I'd ask for a low probation term, and I'll let Mr. Arnold make any statements he wants to make at this time.
So, Ms. Nicole, I don't know if you are familiar with this history, but the word escalation comes to mind when I read its history. You know what I'm talking about?
Your Honor, I do not.
There's a police report that suggested very clearly that this is part of a pattern that is emerging with your client, that there was another incident that predates the one that we're talking about, where he had his pants down in a car with his hips higher than the window while he was drawing the attention of a lady driver in the car next to him.
Your Honor, with respect to that, Mr. Arnold was not found guilty or pled guilty to that. Those are still allegations. I am requesting the court not consider that as far as sentencing, as again, it's not a conviction on his record.
Oh, I used the word very purposely when I said that there is an apparent escalation that is happening here. So irrespective of whether he was found guilty of it or not, it was reported to the authorities that that's what happened. So still looking at potentially a brief period of probation, but it's very concerning to see what appears to be an escalation happening with regard to your client. Would you like to respond, or you can pass?
Your Honor, I've stated my reasons for on that particular issue. I'll let Mr. Arnold make any statements he wants to make at this time.
Well, like I said, you can just simply pass. You can just say pass. You don't have to have a whole diatribe about it. Mr. Arnold, it's your opportunity
Yes,
to
Your Honor.
speak. It's your opportunity to speak.
Your Honor, there is going to be no escalation or anything like that. It was purely an accident when I was at work. I lost the best job I've ever had. I worked very hard to get that job,
So
and
let me. So it's kind of hard for me to understand how your penis could be out of your pants and you not know that it was out of your pants, and for you to have an armful of boxes and not feel like a draft on yourself.
right. Well, during the summertime, it's really hot. So, I mean,
Okay,
normally,
let's stop right there.
okay.
Let's stop right there. because that's incredible. I don't believe you.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't care how hot it is. You know if your pants are down and your penis is out of your pants. I'm going to try and talk about something different, but I don't have the patience to listen to you tell me something that sounds incredible. And when I say incredible,
Yes, sir.
past ability is what I'm really talking about.
Okay, Your Honor.
Is there something else that you think I should know?
Not that I can think of, Your Honor.
Okay. So, I'm going to place you on a period of probation of 6 months. You can be on probation for up to 24 months if there's any problem with you being on probation. If you actually have changed, and I'm willing to give you the benefit of a doubt as to whether you can change, you could potentially cut your probation in half by 90 days. But I would have to be convinced that the goals of probation have been reached. And the true goal of probation is rehabilitation. When I talk about rehabilitation, what I'm talking about is changing how you think so that you change your actions. So the change would have to necessitate you not trying to say things to me like, yeah, it was a hot day, so I didn't know that my penis was out of my pants. That is a non-starter as far as I'm concerned. Okay? So what I'm talking about is actually understanding that there's consequences for the behavior that you engage in. Understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
The fine is $500. There's $125 state assessment, $575 in court costs, which I find to be reasonable based upon what it costs the court to handle cases like yours. And so what we do is we add up that total cost for all of our defendants and then divide it by the number of defendants, and that's how we come up with your pro rata share. That is $575. There's $100 for the risk assessment, which is the report that we've been referring to just a few minutes ago. There's also $210 in oversight fees, which is what it costs to be on probation. For $35 a month, for 6 months is $210. So the total is $1,510. Are you prepared to pay that, or are you going to need some time?
I'll need some time, Your Honor.
How much do you think you can realistically afford to pay on a regular monthly basis?
On a monthly basis, probably 200 would be the most.
Well, I'm talking about what's realistic. I'm not talking about what would be a stretch for you to do.
$100 would be realistic.
All right, I'm going to say 50 just to make sure.
Okay.
50 per month starting on July 17th. So you have a whole month to be able to come up with your $50 payment. So this should not be a problem because understand that this is a court order. You don't make your payment, you go to jail for not making your payment. Now, even though I've said that, there is still at least an acknowledgement by me that sometimes people's finances get a little bit out of whack. And so if something happens and you are not in a position to make your payment for by the 17th day of whichever month it happens to be, then you will need to get in touch with me. But you can't call me, you can't send me an email, a letter, or a text. You have to actually come to the courthouse. So you'd have to jump in your car, come down to the courthouse, you get in front of my court officer, tell him what's going on, and if he's able to get you in front of me, then we will deal with the situation. If I'm not available, then you don't just turn around and leave. You go see Mrs. Williams in the clerk's office. Ms. Williams is the person that handles payments. You don't have to remember her name. Just remember, you don't just turn around and leave if I'm not available, that there's somebody else you need to talk to that's in the clerk's office. And even if you can't remember her name, everybody in the clerk's office knows who handles payments. And she's the only one that handles this type of a payment. Understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, understand this, that if you fail to do that, then I will issue a bench warrant. A bench warrant is an authorization to the sheriff to arrest you. There's an automatic $75 charge when I have to do a bench warrant. And the cops are looking for you. Understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
You to meet with probation on a monthly basis, or as directed, I am going to make you eligible for early discharge, but again, that will not be an easy feat because I would have to be convinced that the goals of rehabilitation have been met. You're not to possess, carry, use, or purchase a firearm, ammunition, or other dangerous weapon. Do you own a gun or a knife, set, archery, set, martial arts weapons, tear gas, pepper spray, brass knuckles, a sword, blackjack, machete, anything that can be considered to be a dangerous weapon.
No, Your Honor.
Not to violate any criminal law of any unit of government, not leave the state without the prior consent of the court. You'll make a truthful and accurate report to the probation officer at each contact. You'll notify probation within 24 hours of any change of address of employment or school status and within 24 hours of any contact with the police. Police contact means official police contact. It is not the police saying, hi, how you doing? This is great weather. This is police contact of an official nature. So if they detain you or arrest you, that is certainly official police business. Your failure to report within the next business day, official police contact is a violation of probation, and you will go to jail for a probation violation. Understand this as well. You should always, always, always overshare in terms of whether you believe something was official police contact, because you don't get into trouble for reporting something that you didn't need to report. But if you guess wrong and think that you did not need to report it when you did, you go to jail. So make sure that you report police contact. It'll provide proof of healthcare coverage or meet with the healthcare navigator as directed by probation. You're not to use, possess, consume, nor be in the presence of alcoholic beverages or controlled substances, nor be present in any place where alcohol is sold for consumption on the premises. So you're not to use any products that contain alcohol or some other substance that would change your state of order to cause you to test positive for a banned substance, like eating a bagel with poppy seeds, something that would be prohibited. So as I said at the outset, probation is about changing your thought process. And so your thought process is going to be interfered with if you're hanging around places where people are drinking or using drugs. So you can't go to a bar even if you don't have any intentions of having a drink. Can't go to a bowling alley without having the permission of your probation officer. Going to a restaurant like Red Lobster or Applebee's and Chili's, or going to a concert, or going to a sports stadium, going to a wedding reception, even going to a movie theater, because movie theaters now serve alcohol. So if you wanted to be in an establishment like those, and actually it doesn't have to be an establishment, it could be a cookout at a friend's house. Those are all places where people are consuming alcohol. So you're prohibited from being there without having permission from your probation officer. So not only can you not be around people that are drinking, you can't be around people that are using controlled substances. And marijuana is still a controlled substance. And even though the law has changed and people can now legally possess and use marijuana in the state of Michigan, that is not a rehabilitative environment for you to be sitting up in a cloud of weed smoke. And even if they weren't smoking and they had edibles, that is not a rehabilitative environment. Hanging around with a bunch of folks that are getting high, eating bunny holes or brownies or whatever it is that they placed it with THC. So as I said before, you can't use any products that contain alcohol, so I'm going to give you a few examples. Some examples include products like non-alcoholic beer actually have alcohol in them, so you need to read labels. There's alcohol in things like toothpaste. There's alcohol in things like cold medications like Nyquil. There's alcohol in things like mouthwash like Listerine. There's even alcohol in things like these twisted teas and salsa waters and Mike's lemonade and energy drinks like Four Loko. So know what it is that you're putting into your body because you're responsible for what's in your body. And that can even include household products like hand sanitizer, rubbing alcohol. People actually drink stuff like that, sternal fluid, and people continue to snort things like glue and gasoline and duster to get high. It doesn't matter if it's a household product. And as I said earlier, with regard to your friends, Edibles would apply to you as well. You could not use a product that contains THC without it being a probation violation. But brownies, cookies, gummies, granola bars, sucker stabs, wax, bakes, K2 salad, spice, 221, cloud nut, potpourri, or whatever they're calling it, does not matter. That would still be a probation violation. Understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
Not to abuse prescription and non-prescription drugs and provide verification of any new prescriptions to your probation officer within 48 hours. You're to attend counseling as recommended in the risk assessment device. I believe that they have you down with CBT, which is cognitive behavior therapy, which is designed to get you to stop and think before you engage in actions. You're to drive for probation, law enforcement, testing agents, case manager, physician, or counselor. You're to submit to a search of your person, your home, or your car upon the request of either probation or law enforcement officers to ensure you're in full compliance with all probationary terms. If you're placed on electronic monitoring, it does have GPS. 3 days community service by the end of probation, 11:00 p.m. curfew. You're to maintain employment as condition of probation, and you're to submit to fingerprinting by law enforcement as provided by probation. Now, despite the fact that I've ordered all these things, you may be able to appeal. If you decide to appeal, you need to do so within 21 days, and if you require the services of an attorney to help you with the appeal, and you can afford to hire your own attorney, then you need to let the court know within 14 days so we can send a request to the public defender's office for them to evaluate you for eligibility for appellate services. Mr. Arnold, you are now on probation with me as of this moment. Understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, do you have any questions or concerns?
Not that I can think of, Your Honor.
Well, if you do think of some questions, of course, you can address them with the probation officer. And somebody from probation staff will hopefully be getting in touch with you by the end of the week. And if not by the end of this week, hopefully by next week. Ms. Nichols,
Okay.
questions or concerns?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay. All right, you two are free to hang up at this point. Have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Beautiful.